This is a Bacta spray. You have suffered damage to your central processing unit.
You mean my brain?
That was a joke. It is meant to put you at ease.
10 seconds to system shutdown. 10, 9, 8, 7. Facial scan complete.
And I'm afraid you're gonna have to speak up to him a little bit, since his vessel lost pressure in Taynet.
What's your name, officer?
We just call him Brown Eyes. Isn't that right, officer? Come on, let's go fill out those TPS reports.
It's time to go. Don't be afraid.
May the Force be with you.
I hope you guys enjoyed our 1980s casting of the Mandalorian. Freaking Burt Reynolds with the mustache and everything. If you guys like deepfakes, we do tons of other deepfakes ranging from The Boys, crossing over with the DC Universe, to Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. You name it, we're probably doing it. But let's talk about, John, how perfect this was for the face shape. We don't always get this lucky or hit the jackpot with stuff. And I was like, hey, I can kind of see the face shape matching and stuff. And John's like, oh, okay, let's see how it goes. And John's like, I can't tell which is which.
And so at first Nick goes, hey, let's redo the cast of The Mandalorian for 1980s. Burt Reynolds. I'm like, oh, that's so stupid. But then once we did it, I was like, oh, he really, because I'm used to seeing older Burt Reynolds in, like, you know, the baseball movie he did. I forgot what it was. And then in Friends, like old Burt Reynolds. But as a younger guy, he looks a lot like, Pascal? Pedro Pascal, right? Pedro Pascal. I was like, wow, that works really well. And we, for whatever reason, the footage that we gathered or things like that, the training, but the training of the deepfake came out very, very clean. Really clean. In the really, really close-ups where he's saying goodbye to Baby Yoda, you can see some of the pixelization a little bit. But on the other shots, it came out great. Doesn't mean there's not more work in the composite stuff that went in, but just what we had and his face structure, things like that, worked out very well.
We've had some bad ones, like we did
Carl Urban as Bruce Wayne, and Christian Bale just has a leaner face, not as defined of a jaw.
Didn't fit. It just felt like felt like Carl Urban's face was too big for Christian Bale's face.
Let's just cut to the chase. That's basically what it was. But so in this case, it worked out really, really well. And I wanted to saw that. Nick was like, yeah, I think Burt Reynolds would be a great cast for this. And it's like, okay, fine. And then once it was, okay, that makes sense. I actually thought certain shots weren't working. And then I had to flip back to Pedro Pascal. I was like, oh yeah, it's totally working. Look at that.
Yeah.
And the acting came through well on Burt Reynolds as well. So the footage, you need to choose very specific footage that has acting. And we've used a lot of interviews in the past, but people don't tend to act very much in interviews, except acting cool. Whereas Nick found good footage of Burt Reynolds just doing his Burt Reynolds thing. I guess so it worked out really well.
Yeah, let us know if you guys like the 80s spin on things. Yeah. Like, I know everyone's like trying to produce or trying to think who would look good in the current roles, and we're like, you know what? Wonder how we look in the 80s.
80s and 90s are fun. Maybe we'll go back to the 1920s. No, I don't know.
And that scene's perfect. Like, that would have been like Mark Hamill in the 80s, and we would have had Burt Reynolds in the 80s. Like, if George Lucas was like, I'm gonna make a show about the Mandalorian or whatever, then we would have had it. So it would have been awesome.
It would have been Burt Reynolds as the Mandalorian. And Nick did a great job with the opening. I thought that was hilarious with the motion graphics
having some
and the old effect
cheesy
on
quick
there.
fun.
Really, really fun. Yeah. But put it in the time period. Really, if you think of it, if you actually see footage from the 80s, it looked way worse than even degrading the footage here. It'd be like 320 by 240 resolution and just scan lines. We had to tone it down. We're like, okay, but that's still way better than, yeah, it's pretty funny. So you guys, let us know if you like this. If you think of other characters as well you'd like to have recast for the different decades, we could certainly, maybe we're already kind of working on this, who knows? But if you have suggestions, we can certainly do that. See you guys on the next AsArt.